Hidden beneath a quiet parking lot in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, was a secret no one expected. Waited in silence for nearly 100 years. Buried in a sealed well, inside a rusted barrel, was a woman. No name. No record. No one searching for her. She didn't just vanish from the world. She was erased from it. And when she finally surfaced in 2006, her presence asked a terrifying question. How does someone disappear so completely? And why would someone make sure she stayed that way? This is not folklore. This is real. This is Canada's oldest unsolved mystery. This is the story of the woman in the well. Part 1. The discovery. It was a warm June afternoon in 2006. A small construction crew was working behind a strip mall on 20th Street West in Saskatoon. Their job was simple: tear up the lot, lay new drainage, and pave it over. Most of the site had already been stripped down to the dirt, but then they hit something. First just pieces of concrete, then the circular stone lining of what appeared to be an old well. Nobody on the crew even knew it existed. It wasn't on the blueprints. There were no records. It had likely been sealed and forgotten decades ago, long before the surrounding buildings had ever gone up. But that wasn't the strange part. As they drilled deeper to check its stability, they felt something solid block the bit. It wasn't rock. It wasn't earth. It was metal. So they stopped the machines and called the Saskatoon Fire Department. What they pulled out would stun everyone involved. At the bottom of the well, 25 feet below the surface, was an old 55-gallon metal barrel, rusted but mostly intact. It had been wedged in place horizontally, heavy, sealed, watertight. At first, they assumed it was old chemical waste or fuel, common in industrial sites. But when it was opened, they found bones, not just scattered fragments, a whole skeleton, preserved, curled, contained. It was immediately treated as a crime scene, and for good reason. Part 2. The body in the barrel. The coroner's office took over, along with forensic teams from the University of Saskatchewan. The remains were human, female, likely in her early 20s. The bones were mostly intact. But what shocked investigators was how well the body had been preserved. Though her soft tissue had largely broken down, traces of adapocere, a waxy substance that sometimes forms during decomposition in anaerobic conditions, clung to parts of her body. It suggested that whatever killed her, her body was placed in that barrel very soon after death, and then sealed. The environment inside the barrel, cold, dark, filled with some form of flammable liquid, possibly gasoline or kerosene, acted as an accidental preservation chamber. That barrel had kept its secret for close to a century. Alongside her body were several key artifacts: a long brown wool skirt and blouse with lace cuffs, a pair of high-top leather boots, a gold chain necklace, and, curiously, a folded men's vest and trousers. The fashion pointed investigators to a specific time period: the 1910s, before the Great War, before most modern crime records. There was no ID. No rings, no initials sewn into the clothing, and no one remembered a woman vanishing from that part of town in that era. She had no name, no identity, no file, no history. Part 3. A vanished world. To understand what might have happened to her, investigators and historians looked not just at her remains, but at the world she would be lived in. Saskatoon in the 1910s was small but growing. It was a railway town, a grain hub, and a place of transition. People came from rural settlements to work in factories or domestic service. Many were immigrants: English, Ukrainian, German, Russian, and often women arrived alone, working as cooks, laundresses, or housemaids. Records from that era were fragmented, especially for unmarried or migrant women. If someone died without family, they might never be missed, especially if her presence had been inconvenient for someone. And that's what made this case so chilling. The barrel was not a burial. It was a deliberate concealment. You don't hide a body like that unless someone wanted her to be forgotten. Part 4. Theories and Ghosts. The discovery of the woman in the well sent shockwaves through the Saskatoon community, not just because of its horror, but because of how perfectly she had been erased. Police began reviewing any known disappearances between 1900 and 1920. But official missing persons records? practically non-existent before the 1920s in Saskatchewan. If someone didn't have a powerful family or newspaper notice, they simply vanished. The local theory was clear. This wasn't an accident. Someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to not just kill her, but to remove her. Not dump her in a river, not leave her in the woods, but seal her in a barrel, drop her into a forgotten well, and let time take care of the rest. And it almost worked. Theory number 1. The servant girl, the first and most widely accepted theory, involves a domestic worker. In the 1910s, it was common for young women, many immigrants or from poor rural families, to come to cities like Saskatoon for work. They were often hired as maids, nannies, or kitchen help in wealthier homes. Some researchers believe she may have been one of them. She may have become involved with someone in the household, a son, a master, or even another servant. If a pregnancy occurred or a scandal was feared, her sudden departure could be explained away. In a time when honor and status were everything, eliminating the problem may have seemed easier than facing shame. In one archived interview from a 1970s local historian, there's mention of a wealthy family in the area rumored to have sent a troublesome girl away in the 1910s. The name wasn't recorded, and no charges were ever filed. But it adds weight to a terrifying possibility. She didn't just vanish by chance. She may have been murdered to protect someone else's reputation. Theory number 2. The bootleggers mistake another theory, that the woman got caught up in criminal activity during Saskatoon's early underground economy. Even before Prohibition began in Canada in 1916 in Saskatchewan, bootlegging was active. Some families ran illegal stills, smuggled liquor, or hosted gambling dens in basements. One researcher suggested the clothing found in the barrel, including the men's vest and trousers, hinted that she may have witnessed something she wasn't supposed to. A deal gone wrong, a secret affair, an argument that escalated. The barrel itself, heavy-duty industrial filled with kerosene, might not have been for her. It might have been for transporting goods or hiding contraband, until someone used it for something else. And if that's true, her death wasn't premeditated. It was opportunistic, a moment of panic, a crime of impulse. Theory number 3. The lost daughter. There's also a more emotional theory, one that suggests tragedy, not murder. Some believe the woman may have been mentally ill or suffered from post-traumatic distress, possibly after the death of a child or abuse. She may have been placed in the barrel after dying by suicide, or even by a family ashamed of what had happened. If the death occurred in a time or place where religious beliefs condemned mental illness or suicide, hiding the body may have been seen as protection. Still, even this theory doesn't explain the deliberate sealing of the well, or why no one ever came forward when the body was discovered. Because for nearly 100 years, no one missed her. Part 5. The science of remembrance. Modern forensics tried to do what history refused to. Give her a name. Remains were sent for. Isotope analysis, to see what minerals she consumed as a child, hinting at where she grew up. Osteological study, which confirmed she was between 22 to 30 years old at death. Dental comparison, to match with early 1900s dental records, but no hits. Mitochondrial DNA testing, which traced maternal lineage, but without a known family tree to match to. Her DNA sat quietly in a national missing persons database, unmatched. In 2010, a forensic facial reconstruction was commissioned. The woman's face was reimagined based on skull structure, muscle depth, and tissue markers. The image was shared nationally, even internationally. Still no one recognized her. Not a single relative, descendant, or historical record could place her. It was like she never existed. Part 6. The well is sealed, but her story isn't today. The site of the discovery is paved over again. Just a plain, quiet parking lot behind some stores in a mid-sized Canadian city. No plaque, no sign, no memorial. Only case file number 2006-041 remains open at the Saskatoon Police Department. To this day, she is referred to only as the Jane Doe in the barrel, or more commonly, the woman in the well. Outro narrator voice, slow and reflective. A century ago, someone tried to bury this woman's story forever. But fate, erosion, and time had other plans. And maybe that's the message here. that even when the world tries to forget, even when your name is taken from you, even when your death is hidden in darkness for 100 years, the truth still finds its way to the surface. So the next time you walk across a parking lot or pass by an old well, remember this: some stories aren't over, they're just waiting to be uncovered.